Hello. Okay, today we're going to work on another project. We are actually going to be creating a mini screwdriver case for precision screwdrivers. So we're going to start off, open up our data panel. You want to make sure that you are in your Unit 1 project folder. And once you have your Unit 1 project folder open, you can close your data panel. We're going to go up to our file. We're going to go to save. We're going to title this 1.3.4 screwdriver case. Okay. Make sure that your location is your project folder. If not, just click on the drop-down box, find it and select it. Click save. Okay, before we go any farther, make sure that your view cube is set up properly. Look at mine very carefully. This is what yours should look like. If it does not, your project will not come out right. This is very important at this time because next week you are going to be working on a summative project, and if your view cube is not correct, you will lose points next week for that. If you do not have this correct and you don't know how to fix it, you can ask somebody sitting next to you, see if they know, or raise your hand and ask me. Next, we want to go over to our document settings. We want to make sure our units are in inches for this. Okay. Alrighty, now we're ready to start. We're going to go up to Create Sketch. We are going to select our XZ plane. Now, one thing about selecting planes, I've had a few of you ask me, how do I know which plane to select? Well, if you look at your XZ plane, if you notice the grayed out area is flat on the plane. That means when I extrude, it's going to extrude up. Okay? Whereas if I do the XY, notice now the plane had turned sideways. So if I'm going to go ahead and extrude, it's going to extrude to the side. And then with YZ, same type of thing. It's going to extrude out to the side. So XZ is what we want to do because we want it to sit normal on the plane. So I have XZ. Now I'm going to go up and I'm going to go up to Create and Polygon. We're going to use the circumscribed polygon. We're going to go to the origin point. We want to click on the origin point and then start dragging out. We want this to be a diameter of 0.75, and then hit your tab key and hit 5. Do not hit enter yet. You want to straighten this out. So the top point of your pentagon should be lined up with the green line on the axis. Okay, this is going to be really important for what we're doing today. Once you have it lined up, you can click, right click, and select OK. And so that's what your pentagon should look like at this point. We are now going to right click on the object, on the pentagon, and down in the marking menu, I'm going to select extrude. There's two extrudes here. There's a blue one and a kind of yellow-orange one. I'm going to select the blue one. I want to extrude this at 0.15 inches. But I also want to go over here to the text, the extrude text box. I'm going to change the taper angle. We're actually going to angle this a little bit. I'm going to make this -45. And then you can click OK. And this is what it should look like at this point. This next step is very, very important. I'm going to show you how to do it correctly, and I'm going to show you what it looks like if you did not do it correctly. And if you don't do it correctly, you just have to undo it and redo it. So at this point, we're going to go back up to Create Sketch. We're going to select the top of the polygon. If anything is in your way, just zoom so that you're sure to click on the top of the polygon. It should, yep. And then we are going to go on back up to Create Polygon and Circumscribed again. We're going to click on the origin point again. We're going to start dragging outwards. Now, I'm going to first tab over to my sides. I want this to have 5 sides. Then I'm going to tab again to take me back to my diameter. I'm going to change this to 0.06. Before I do anything else, I want to turn this, and I'm going to zoom way in, and I need this to line up exactly. So you should only see one set of lines. This is very important. Once you have it lined up exactly, click. Then you can right click and click OK. Okay, now this next step is where you will be able to know if you did it correctly or not. We are going to right click on that pentagon. We're going to do extrude again. We want this to be 0.75. And we want the taper angle this time to be a -5. And I'm going to click OK. And actually, I don't have to show you another one. I can see right here, see these lines here? That means I'm not lined up properly. So I'm going to have to go back. I have to undo that. So I'm going to do create polygon, circumscribe. Let me try this again. It's going to be 0.6, tab 5. And we line it up. Very important that it's lined up properly. Okay, let's try that. Click OK. Now extrude. 0.75. And I think we said -5 here. And it's still doing it. Okay, we're going to cancel that. This can be very, very finicky sometimes. Oh, that looked like it was there. Okay, so okay, now I can see when I zoom in, it looks like I'm at the center point. I can see my blue triangle. I'm going to click enter on my keyboard so that maybe I was moving it with my hand when I was trying to click on the mouse. Let's try again and see if this is right this time. I'll hit extrude, 0.75, and we want -5. There we go. So, excuse me, you can see the difference now. I'm going to just kind of shift this a little bit like that. You can see my line is gone. So this is what it looked like when it was not lining up properly. You have those lines that divide it into more spots. This is what it should look like. So if you get this, the only thing you can do is undo it all and start again with that top polygon. Okay, now that we have this correct, we are going to go up to construct. We're going to choose offset plane. We are going to choose the top of the pentagon. And I want this to be 0.1. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Okay, now what I want to do here, because I'm going to turn this way a little bit so I can see it better. Okay, now I'm going to go up to create sketch. I'm going to click on this offset plane that I just created. I'm going to go over to create, go down to project, project include, and then select project. And then you are going to select the 5 edges of the innermost polygon. Pay attention, look at this very closely. Notice where my blue lines are. That's where you should be clicking, the innermost polygon. You want to select those 5, and then you are going to click OK. Now we're going to create some construction lines. So make sure your purple line is on the innermost. I'm going to go on up here to my line tool. And in my sketch palette, I'm going to click construction. Now we are going to create 5 construction lines going across here. We're going to use these to center some circles in a little bit. So I'm going to start at one vertex and click, and I'm going to drag that across to the other side, and I'm going to find my midpoint. Remember, when I see that triangle, that means I'm at my midpoint. So I can click. Okay. And then I'm going to go to another vertex. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go across, find my midpoint and click. My third vertex, do the same thing. My next vertex. And then the last one. And then I'll click OK. So now I have those. At this point, I'm going to go on up to my sketch palette and I'm going to deselect my construction line so I don't accidentally use it for something else. I'm done with my construction line. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Now I'm going to go up to Finish Sketch. That's what it should look like. We're going to go to Create Sketch, and we're going to click on this polygon that we just drew all those construction lines on. I'm going to select Center Diameter Circle. I'm going to start at my origin point in the center. When you're on it, you should see blue outlining it. And I'm going to start dragging outwards. I want the diameter of this to be 1 inch. Okay. Then I can click Enter. Okay, there we go. You want to make sure that you start it right there in the origin point. That's where all 5 of the lines intersect. And now we're going to go over here to our browser. We're going to click on this arrow next to Sketches to open it up. We're going to go down to Sketch 3, and we're going to click on this eyeball in front of Sketch 3 to hide that sketch. We don't want to see that sketch. We're done with it. Now we're going to go on up and click Finish Sketch. We're going to go to Create. We're going to go to Loft. I'm going to I'm going to select my pentagon. I lost my place there for a minute. And then I'm going to select the circle. Okay, pentagon, then the circle. So this pentagon right here that's right on the outside edge of the circle, that's where you click first, and then your circle. Then you can go ahead and click OK. Now we want to select the top of the circle, and we want to select Extrude. We want to extrude this 0.75, and we want to give it a taper of -2. And then we'll click OK. And let's see how we're looking. Yep, that's about what we should be looking like now. Now we want to go all the way to our bottom view. You can either rotate it or you can just go up here to your view cube and go to bottom. Make sure we got the whole thing in there. Okay. We are going to select the bottom of the pentagon. We are going to select Extrude. When our extrude box opens up, we want to select the one that says Thin Extrude. We don't want our regular extrude, we want Thin Extrude. Once you click the Thin Extrude, we want this to be a distance of 0.075, and we want the taper to be 3 degrees. Okay. And then we will click OK. Notice what we did, added a little bit of an edge to it. Now we want to go back to our top view and see why it's important to make sure that you have your view cube set properly, because otherwise when you click on your top view or your bottom view, you're not going to be seeing what I see. Okay, we are going to go back and click Create Sketch. We're going to select the top. We are going to do another center diameter circle. Again, we're going to start in the center in the origin, drag outwards. We want this to be 0.25 inches. And click Enter. And then we are going to go ahead and finish sketch. At this point, we want to go to Extrude. We're going to click this inner circle, and we want to extrude this lost my place. Sorry. We want to extrude it -1.5. The negative is going to take it in, so it's going to cut it out. and then I want to do a -2 degree taper, so it'll give me an angle. So your operation should say cut. That should be automatic when you put in the negative. Then I'm going to click OK. Now you should have a hole going through here. Okay. Next, okay, we want to create sketch again. And we are going to do another center diameter circle. Oh, sorry. I want to click the top of the circle there. I want to do center diameter circle again. Now in this one, I'm going to zoom way in. In order to find, I want to find the mid area here. So I'm actually going to count. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go about halfway, about 3.5, as close as I can get to that. So I went these long lines here. So that was 1, 2, 3. And if I go from the other side from here at 1, 2, 3. So we want to go about halfway between those. I'm going to click and I'm going to start drawing out a circle. We want this to be 0.15. Right click and OK. Let that finish. Now we're going to use our circle pattern to create a circle of 5, or create a pattern of 5 circles around here. So I'm going to go to create. We're going to go to circular pattern. I'm going to select this circle first. Then for my center point, I'm going to go to center point select. I am going to click my origin point for my center point. Okay, I want total of 5, so I'm going to put a 5 there and then click OK. Now we have 5 identical circles, all pretty much centered between the the origin and the sorry, between that middle circle and the edge. Now, finish sketch. We are going to extrude. We're going to extrude all 5 circles. So you're going to need to hold down the shift key when you click them. So shift, I'm going to click 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I have all 5 done. Now I'm going to go to extrude. I want to extrude this. Come on. -0.75. And I do not want to taper. I'm going to leave it as a 0 and click OK. Now we're going to flip back to the bottom view. There we go. Zoom so I can see it. Okay. On the toolbar, we're going to go up to the Modify tab, and then we are going to select Shell. I'm going to then select the bottom face of my object. And over here, I want my inside thickness to be 0.07. And we want the direction to be inside. And then we're going to click OK. So what we did was we just took all that extra material out. Here you see the bottom of all those circles that we extruded down. And you see the inside of the object. Now we want to go back to our front view. There's our front view. Let me zoom. Okay, we are now going to click Create Sketch. We're going to create a sketch on this tapered area right here. Okay. Zoom in a little bit. We're going to now go up to Create and Text, and you've done this before. And you're going to create your text box. And in your text box, excuse me, you are going to type your first name and the initial of your last name. Okay, make sure it fits in the text box. You can adjust the height as you wish, but make sure it fits in your text box. You can align it however you want, right side, left side, center, and then click OK. And then we want to finish sketch. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on the text. I'm going to go on up and click Extrude. I want you to extrude this a distance 0.02. We're not going to put a taper, and we're going to click OK. So when you're done, that's what it should look like. You should have it extruded out. I do not want it extruded in, just extruded out on this one. Let's go back to the home. That's what your final product should look like. Make sure it's named 1.3.4 screwdriver case, and then you will upload this into Canvas.